8:15? Oh, what's here? Oh. Oh yeah. Yes. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing with Canto 10, Chapter 6. Today's text number 9. तां तीक्ष्णचित्ताम् अतिवामचेष्टिताम् वीक्ष्यान्तराकोशपरिच्छद्दस्यवत् वरस्त्रियां तत् प्रभया च दर्शिते निरीक्ष्यमाणे जननी ह्यतिष्ठताम् तां तीक्ष्णचित्ताम् अतिवामचेष्टिताम् वीक्ष्यान्तराकोशपरिच्छदासिवत्. It's परिच्छदासिवत्. Okay. वरस्त्रियं तत् प्रभया च धर्षिते निरीक्ष्यमाणे जननी ह्यतिष्ठताम्. So it's your turn to embarrass yourself. तां तीक्ष्णचित्ताम् अतिवामचेष्टिताम् वीक्ष्यान्तराकोशपरिच्छदासिवत् वरस्त्रियं तत्प्रभया च धर्षिते निरीक्ष्यमाणे जननी ह्यतिष्ठताम्. तां तीक्ष्णचित्ताम् अतिवामचेष्टिताम् निरीक्ष्यमाणे जननी ह्यतिष्ठताम्. माताजी. तां तीक्ष्णचित्ताम् अतिवामचेष्टिताम् वीक्ष्यान्तरकोशपरिच्छदासिवत् वरस्त्रियां तत्प्रभया च दर्शिते निरीक्ष्यमाणे जननी ह्यतिष्ठताम्. ताम, that Putana Rakshasi, Tikshna Chittam, having a very fierce heart for killing the child. Ativamacheshtitam, although she was trying to treat the child better than a mother. Viksha Antara, seeing her within the room. Kosha Parichhada Asivat, like a sharp sword within a soft sheath. Varastriyam, the very beautiful woman. Tatprabhaya, by her influence. Cha, also. Dharshite, being overwhelmed. Nirikshamane, we're seeing Janani, the two mothers. He, indeed, Atishtatam, they remained silent without prohibiting. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Putana Rakshasi's heart was fierce and cruel, but she looked like a very affectionate mother. Thus she resembled a sharp sword in a soft sheath. Although seeing her within the room, Yashoda and Rohini, overwhelmed by her beauty, did not stop her, but remained silent because she treated the child like a mother. Purport. Although Putana was an outsider, and although she personified fierce death, because the determination within her heart was to kill the child, when she directly came and placed the child on her lap to offer the child her breast to suck, the mothers were so captivated by her beauty that they did not prohibit her. Sometimes a beautiful woman is dangerous because everyone, being captivated by external beauty, Maya Mohita, is unable to understand what is in her mind. Those who are captivated by the beauty of external energy are called Maya Mohita. Mohitam nabhijananti mamebhya paramavyayam. Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 text 13. Nate vidhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu durashaya ye bahirarthamaninaha. Bhagavatam 7:5-31. Here, of course, the two mothers Rohini and Yashoda were not Maya Mohita, deluded by the external energy, but to develop the pastimes of the Lord, they were captivated by Yoga Maya. Such Maya Moha is the action of Yoga Maya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you for tolerating me for one more day. So there are some, like we've been observing, how the language of the Bhagavatam is poetic and beautiful. And part of the beauty of poetry is to convey through good metaphors certain very critical aspects. So here, in this verse, Shukadeva Goswami is conveying how Putana was extremely deceptive. And that extreme deception or deceptive mentality, she hid it very, very well. And she had a very, very intense, malicious intent. But she hid it with charm. And so that malicious intent is in the first two words of the verse. So tam means she. Tikshna chittam. Tikshna actually, not actually, Tikshna also means like spicy or hot to taste. It's very intense. So Tikshna chittam, chitta means consciousness or heart. So very, very evil-hearted Ativama cheshtitam. In Sanskrit, when you put the word ati, it means excessive or too much. Like we say, it's a superlative degree, good, better, best. So ati means in an extreme way or an excessive way. And vama cheshtitam. Vama cheshtita means very docile, very submissive, very gentle, like that. Affectionate. So Radharani is generally said that she has Vama Svabhava towards Krishna. Vama Svabhava means she's always very gentle, delicate, and almost submissive. So this is the contradiction. Tikshna Chitta Ativamas Cheshtita. Cheshta means behavior or a demeanor. So she has this gentle, pleasing, so charming demeanor, but her heart is, is hot with this sense of malice. And so the analogy is just like Shukadeva Goswami says, Kosha Parichhada Asivat. When the suffix vat means just like, Asi means sword. So this word Asi comes multiple times in Bhagavatam. In the first canto, second chapter, Krishna says, Sutta Goswami says, Yad anudhyasina, asina is by the sword. So Asi means sword. And Parichhada means covered by. And Kosha. Kosha is like a soft. Generally, Kosha is also referred to like the central whorl of a flower. That's where it's very soft and delicate. So, delicate, covering something very sharp. So, it means sharp sword. So, the sword covered by a soft sheath. Hare Krishna. So this is that deception, and because she was deceptive and Varastriya, she looked like the best of women, most angelic, beautiful woman that walked into the room. And her beauty had such influence, her behavior and demeanor had such influence. It says tat prabhaya, that by such influence, nirikshamane janani. Janani is the two mothers, Rohini and Yashoda. Nirikshamane, they just kept looking. And they were so disarmed by that very beautiful behavior and appearance that they just kept looking while she went and picked up the child and put him on her lap. And he says, He atishtatam. They did not move at all. They did not protest. They did not say, oh, that's my child, please don't take. Generally, when a stranger picks up a child, mothers are all on red alert. Right? Because you don't know who the person is, even if they're, behaving good. Mothers are always on high alert. Whether it's human mothers or animal mothers or bird mothers. I've seen many times when you're crossing the street or driving, sometimes the mother goose or duck has a little babies behind her, and she will stop and check. I don't know how she counts, but she makes sure that all the ducklings are there. I don't think she knows how to count, but she has the sense that all of them are there or not. And they will all huddle with her, and she will make sure that they will cross the street. And if anyone goes nearby, she's ready to attack. If you take a dog or any other animal and you go approach the babies, the mother's always on guard. And so even with human children, and human children of course indicate they cry or they're uncomfortable, and the mother knows, she senses, oh, my child is not comfortable right now. In this case, Rohini and Yashoda just sort of stood there, charmed by Putana as she walked into the room. Very amazing. And Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit are talking about it because they're like, wow, how is that possible? You know, these are not ordinary mothers or women, and they are so spiritually and culturally and that way alert and awakened. What happened? How is it possible? So Prabhupada's giving us a hint, a clue, that this is the influence of Yoga Maya. And the analogy is, people in this world are enamored by beauty, especially deceptive beauty. And the being enamored condition is because of Krishna's Maya Shakti, called Maha Maya. Or here it says Maha Mohita. Mohita means being influenced by or being charmed by. So we know that in this world, people are charmed with deceptive beauty. And so Prabhupada writes, these two women were also charmed, but it was a different energy working on them. So first thing, before we discuss about deceptive beauty, every living entity, whether in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, is under the influence of Maya. In the conditioned state, we are influenced by Krishna's external energy. So the Maya has a tendency to attract. That's what Maya means. It attracts a person. It charms and enamors a person. So in the conditioned state, Maya attracts us away from Krishna. And in the liberated state, Maya attracts us, or I can't say me, as if I'm including myself. Maya attracts the pure devotee towards Krishna. That's all. Both have attractive potency and strength. It's just that depending upon the consciousness of the entity, that energy works this way or that way. Prabhupada said that an electrician, he knows how to take energy and use it for cooling purposes or heating purposes. Same energy, just acting differently, depending upon the outcomes we want. So similarly, depending upon the condition of our heart, that energy attracts us away from Krishna or towards Krishna. So when my heart is indisposed towards gratification of senses in a selfish way, then I'm attracted away from Krishna, into matter. But if my heart is indisposed or disposed towards serving Krishna in a favorable way, then she attracts me towards Krishna. That's as simple as how it gets. But regardless, one is always influenced by or attracted by Maya. So when it's the external, it's called Mahamaya, and when it's Krishna's internal potency, she's called Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya, Maya that connects us to Krishna. That's a good way to remember. So when Krishna's energy attracts us away from Krishna, she's called Mahamaya, the great bewildering energy. When she connects us towards Krishna, she's called Yoga Maya, the one that connects us to Krishna. Yoga means to connect. So Yoga Maya. Now, Yashoda and Rohini were influenced by Yoga Maya. And the reason is, if they had protested, then the pastime of Putana and Krishna meeting and the killing of Putana wouldn't be possible. So they were stunned. Now Prabhupada focuses on Mahamaya, the bewildering, deceptive beauty of this world. The reason we're using the phrase deceptive beauty is because in the material world there isn't beauty. And whatever beauty exists is a fleeting, or it's only temporary or deceptive. So you know the famous story of beauty. Prabhupada narrates the story that there was a man who became very attracted to a woman. Surprise, surprise. Okay. And his attraction was so intense that he went and proposed to her, "Let's be together." And she asked him, "Why?" "Because you're so beautiful. Your skin is so soft, your eyes are so charming, your hair is so amazing," whatever description of how attractive she was. So she told him, "Come back after 3 days and we'll talk." He said, "All right." So in those 3 days, she took a bunch of laxatives and purgatives, heavy doses. So throughout the day, she was having loose motions and she was throwing up. And if you've seen anyone who's had a lot of loose motions and throwing up, the eyes sink into their sockets, they feel totally debilitated, weak, the skin becomes all wrinkled and withered, and all the charm just goes away. But what she did is she collected all of it in buckets. So when this man 3 days later got his flowers and chocolate and wine and champagne or whatever, knocked on her door, she opened the door and he was like, "Ah, who's this?" He said, "Excuse me, I'm looking for such and such." And she says, "That's me." I said, "What happened to you? What happened to your beauty?" She said, "I have them for you." And she brought him his buckets and said, "This is my beauty." He called it liquid beauty. And the man felt like throwing up and ran away. So Prabhupada describes that this liquid beauty, it means it's deceptive. The real beauty is the soul, and what's external, yes, is I'm sure there are many attractive persons, and in fact, for some persons, some people are very ugly, but for some persons, the same ugly person is very attractive. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So in this world, there is someone for everyone. The pig finds his mate, the porcupine finds his mate. Of course, you know, every living entity somehow will find. It's not like, oh, some people will say, "Man, she's so ugly and hideous," or "He's so horrible. How did she find him?" or "How did he find her?" It's just the wonderful Maya Shakti of the Lord. So everyone has someone in this world. So this beauty then is fleeting. It goes away. It wanes after some time. And this principle that people are enamored by such deceptive beauty is used in many ways, in many pastimes and actual life stories. In the previous ages, I'm sure it's other parts of the world, in India, there used to be certain women called Vishakanya. Kanya means a young, literally it means virgin, but young women. And since their childhood, every day they were given little tiny, harmless doses of poison. So over many years, it seems that they would develop within themselves heavy poison. Because it was given in very minute doses, it wouldn't kill them yet. And those women with poison were then given assignments by kings to go and meet their enemies and charm them and kiss them. And during that process, the poison would get transferred and the enemy would be killed. Same like sharp sword in a soft sheath. Deceptive, completely deceptive. But this was done because and if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen any espionage movie. In any espionage movie or story, however powerful the guy is, they find some way of finding his sexual weakness. And that would be the downfall of that guy, right? I was story after story after story. Now this originates somewhere. And this originates because Lord Vishnu or Krishna does a similar thing. In the 8th canto, after the churning of the milk ocean, 14 different things came from that churning. And finally came Dhanavantari with this nectar. This was the nectar or elixir of immortality. And the Rakshasas and the Devatas, the demigods and the demons, had cooperated. Instead of fighting with each other, they cooperated. I think in marketing it's called co-opetition, where you cooperate with your competition. So they coordinated together to churn the nectar so that they could both have it. That was the thing, win-win. But as soon as Dhanvantari brought the nectar, the demons rushed and grabbed the pot from his hand. And suddenly the competition began, that we want the nectar, the demigod shall not get. Ha ha ha, we fooled them. So immediately Lord Vishnu, who was sitting on top of that mountain that was used as a churning rod, he transformed himself into this completely, unbelievably charming, beautiful woman. And the name, of course, is called Mohini Murti, because it's the Lord. Mohini, so bewitchingly beautiful. And the demons, although they had the nectar in their hand and they could quickly drink it, when they saw her, they completely melted. And she walked and strutted in such a nice way, smiled at them, fluttered her eyelids, that they were like, just frozen. Like here it says, Atishtati, just frozen. So she was got the time. She walked up to them and said, you know, it is said that you should not believe or trust any strange woman. And they said, you're not a stranger. You're so angelic. You're so wonderful. In fact, we have this nectar, and when we drink it from your hands, it'll become sweeter. Why don't you pour this in our cups? This is the weakness of such. So they gave it to her, and she very smilingly took it, looked into the eye of every Rakshasa demon, smiled so they like, and she walked. As she was looking at them, she was walking towards the demigods. No one protested, because they're all like, she's looking at me, she's looking at me, no, she's looking at me. They're into this whole thing about her. And while she was looking at the demons, she started pouring the nectar into the cups of all the demigods. No one protested. Whatever you do, you're wonderful. And in this way, the demigods got all the nectar and the demons were deprived of it. So the deceptive beauty is this charming nature of material energy. It just says, come, come. And one feels cheated. Prabhupada uses the analogy that a donkey is a beast of labor, right? He works hard every day from morning till evening, and in the night, to remove the fatigue of that labor, he comes to the she-donkey, wanting to, I guess, copulate with her, and she turns around and kicks him on his face. Pop! They say the world, the Maya is like that. The whole day you struggle and you think, now is enjoyment, and frap, she kicks. So this whole material energy is this sharp sword in a soft sheath. That's the basic lesson for us that Prabhupada's giving. Be careful, he's warning us. Let's be careful. What seems all dazzling is actually deceptive. And so it doesn't stop being dazzling and deceptive. What needs to start is the disposition of the heart. She will always remain like that. But in our heart, when we have a strong desire to serve Krishna, then even that dazzle cannot affect. Otherwise we become vulnerable. And so I'll end with this beautiful story of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was so popular and became a saint and was recognized by everyone in the town of Pulia. So the Muslim king became very upset that this is not good, especially a Muslim chanting Hare Krishna. Then both the Hindus and the Muslims will become attracted to him. So they thought, what's the best way? What flaw in character can we find for him? They said, there's no flaw in his character, sir. Nothing. So the guy laughed and said, doesn't matter how great a person is, everyone succumbs to sexual invitations. So they went and found the best prostitute of the town. Her name was Lakshahira. And they told her, get on assignment. She's like, oh, I've dropped large, big kings and emperors. This guy's nothing. And she went to Haridas Thakur's home. So it's described that Haridas Thakur's Bhajan Kutir was not a big house, was a room that was just enough for him to sit down, at most lie down in. So very small and cramped. Almost like a confessional box, if you will. So small, no room for two people, just enough for one. So she walks right into that room while he's chanting Hare Krishna. Can you imagine? And her sari slips from her shoulder. She has all these fragrances. She has jewels, well decorated, hair nicely done, flowers, just the whole thing. The whole 9 yards, as they say. And she approaches Haridas Thakur in a sweet voice. Haridas, I've heard so much about you, and my heart is completely drawn towards you. My gosh, very difficult to control that. And Haridas Thakur says, oh, I have some rounds to finish. As soon as I finish, I'd like to hear what we can do. Oh, no problem. So he kept on, and Haridas Thakur chanted 64 times 3, 192 rounds in a day, which is pretty much 24 hours. So he could never finish his rounds per se, because as soon as he finished, the next day would start. So he chanted, and of course, a woman like her, she was not interested in anything spiritual, so she did what most of us do. She fell asleep. When she woke, it was daybreak, and prostitutes don't work in daybreak. It's like, it's not the time. So she went away. She said, I'll come back. No problem. He was chanting. She came back the next day. Haridas. This time, the charm was upped even more. He said, oh, I didn't finish my rounds even today. So for sometimes devotees, unfinished rounds are protection. I said, I didn't finish my rounds yet. Same day, same thing happened. She fell asleep. She came back a third night. Same thing. But in 3 nights of hearing Haridas Thakur chant, because he's a pure devotee, she transformed. And she said to Haridas Thakur, fell at his feet and said, please forgive me. I came to discredit you, but by your purity you have uplifted me. I came to cheat you, to deceive you, but I'm not interested in this anymore. In fact, I'm interested in what you are doing. I want to become your disciple and chant like you. So he said, shave your head, wear 1 piece of cloth, sit here in front of Tulsi Devi, and you chant Hare Krishna 192 rounds, and he walked away. And that lady from that day onwards, chanted like Haridas Thakur. That's the power of Haridas Thakur, hearing him chant and being in his presence. So that deceptive beauty of, or the charm of the material world is not powerful in front of Krishna and Krishna's bhakti. That's the lesson for us. Of course, I know that, I have found myself, enamored by external things in life, but the lesson and the practice is to turn towards Krishna. So Prabhupada quotes, Nate Vishnu, Nate Swarthagatim hi Vishnu. People don't know that their true self-interest is in service of Vishnu. Any comments, thoughts? Yeah, Daniel, Prabhu. Do we have a mic for him?
I like the connection that you made of the demons being attracted to Mohini Murti and they were giving away the nectar.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking as you were saying that, how we can kind of, when we think of that pastime, we can kind of think or see ourselves in some sense in those demons, where it's like we have this nectar of our sadhana and chanting 16 rounds and devotee association and hearing and chanting and stuff. But then you see this sense gratification over here that's so strong, and it's like pulling you this way, and you're like slowly like giving away the nectar to like something else and just like pouring it down the drain or whatever. And so it's just like you have to remind yourself to be attracted back to your sadhana and back to Krishna and stuff. So I like that connection.
Thank you. Because the nectar is already here. It's given, but not utilized is how I'm seeing it for myself. But thank you for sharing. Anything else? Oh, thoughtful sages. If nothing, thank you very much. You have something? Oh.
Just thinking about when you described how the beauty in the material world is not really beauty. So I was getting this visual of seeing things on internet of like certain people that have the highest number of face plastic surgeries, like record-breaking numbers of facial, exactly, and they turn out to look like, in the end result, like some kind of cartoon character-looking shape of their face. Like it's not even original shape anymore, bone structures.
That elixir is called Botox. You have something about Botox? So excited to say something about Botox.
Thank you for the class. I was hearing it downstairs. And as you know, I'm coming from a Catholic background in which all the things that we do, our relationship with God first is kind of a transaction. As much as I pray for you, you give me more things, and that's what we ask for. And I grew up saying nice things, and I married a beautiful woman, have beautiful kids, and always best things. But at the same time, and I was feeling closer to God, but at the same time, I was looking for Him. And since I joined the movement, my mind changed in a way, but not entirely. I still have this attraction for nice things, for good things, for the fine things. And it's been hard. I still feel fortunate that I still have that sense of beauty, and I see it as a blessing. So I don't know how, in a way also I see that it's something that drags me a little down in my spiritual growth. I live that dichotomy kind of thing. What to do in that case? Besides chanting like crazy, all day long, Haridas Thakur.
So there is a premise in your statement and question that if one becomes spiritually advanced, they become attracted to ugly things because the beauty is not interesting anymore. That's not true. The most beautiful, good-looking, and charming is Krishna and anyone and anything connected with Krishna. So the idea of, they think about wanting refined, fine, nice things. Oh, by the way, I suffer from the same thing, if you However, the idea is that two things, that we are drawn away from the deceptive beauty of the material world and drawn towards the actual beauty, Krishna and the spiritual side of things. So our taste for refined, good things doesn't have to go. It just has to be redirected. Now we find beauty in a different realm. It's not like, have you looked at Prabhupada? So charming, picky, everything had to be best. Nothing was mediocre or he just wouldn't accept. Everything had to be spick, span, neat, beautiful, organized. For Krishna though. That's what it means. Otherwise we would mean that when I was not practicing Hare Krishna, I wore nice clothes. And now it's all, it doesn't matter because I'm now a devotee. That beauty doesn't, it's not like that. Have you seen Prabhupada, how he used, see pictures of Prabhupada, the way he would dress. Fancy. But it didn't matter when, there are also pictures of Prabhupada with completely crumpled clothes. It didn't matter. So the point is, for Krishna, nice things, beautiful things. Anything that gives pleasure to Krishna. So we do things nicely, beautifully, in a high quality way. That's the idea. Not that we as spiritualists shun beauty. It's the opposite. But in the true realm, not in the reflected or illusory realm. That's what it means. We dress Kishore, so gorgeously dressed today. Oh, every day, but today also. Amazing. So that's the... Okay, thank you very much. You have something, Daniel? Our Catholic is running away.
Yeah. Just reminds me of the verse from Bhagavad Gita. I don't know which chapter it was, but where he's like the transcendentalist looks upon, dirt and pebbles and gold as all the same. And then kind of like what you were saying, where like to him, for his own personal benefit, it doesn't matter if it's gold or pebbles, but for Krishna, he uses his intelligence and he's like, oh, these can all be used for Krishna, so it doesn't matter. So I can use the dirt to make a garden for Krishna, I can use the pebbles to make, I can use the gold to decorate him. So it's like, same what you were saying about Prabhupada, it's like for him, he didn't care, but like for Krishna, he wanted everything to be perfect and
Correct.
regal and nice looking.
Absolutely. Beauty, because Krishna is the source of beauty, is for him. Thank you. Oh, I stirred something.
This is more on a simple level.
Thank you. I can't handle more than that.
There's this picture over here of Yogamaya acting on Rohini and Yasoda, and there's also the what you were pointing out of Mahamaya pulling somebody away from Krishna if that's their desire. So, I mean, in the world that we reside in, there's a huge amount of sinful activity, and I guess personally, perhaps because, I work with children, it always seems a very horrific thing where one gets exposed to mothers that don't have a protective instinct. You were describing being on high alert to protect, and coming across mothers that don't have that, and in fact may put their child in very harmful situations. So, looking from the external perspective, one could say, okay, Mahamaya is working in some kind of way because there's a very devious heart, a very callous heart. Some selfish interest has overridden the protective instinct, or protective towards a child instinct. So it's interesting from, a person observing from the outside and knowing how it's operating. Still, one can't be relaxed about it or detached about it, or, find some saving grace, even if one understands. So it seems it's easier to understand this transcendental situation than it is in our kind of murky world, seeing Mahamaya operating and seeing mothers that don't have that protective instinct. So I guess my question would be, in some sense, how does one protect oneself, even with knowledge from, experiencing some not so detached feelings about observing such behavior?
First of all, let's talk of the principle of motherhood. Motherhood is, in one sense, is said to be a service of selfless giving. It's not easy. However, it takes a village to raise a child. It's not just one person's job, especially when it comes to children. Now, some mothers, unfortunately, can be totally absent, checked out. And they're checked out because the influence of this potency, Mahamaya, is so big that rather than that selfless giving, they're absorbed in their own misery, or whatever it is. Sometimes anger, sometimes just checked out. However it manifests, for different people, or different women or men, it manifests differently. But in a sense, they're not in that relationship, or they cannot be in that relationship, let's say like that. Because when we say they are not, it might seem as if it's an issue of will. But when you say that they cannot be in that relationship, it's an issue of more than will. It is some other power working on them. And at that time, unfortunately, that child who manifests in this world becomes devoid or absent, or almost like orphaned. No protection, no shelter. Then it becomes the duty of others, depending upon the community or family, whatever that unit is. It becomes the duty of others to step in and help in whatever form. So this cannot be treated with indifference. Now, detachment would obviously mean we're trying to do the best, and as we're also dependent on how the external energy will manifest things. Detachment always has implications with the outcome, not with the activity. Attachment and detachment, sometimes people say they look like the same. Yeah, they are the same, because an attached person will do all sorts of things for the person, the thing they are attached to, and a detached person will also do everything and for the person or thing that they are doing it for, but the difference is in how they view the outcome. That's my understanding. And so the outcome is, hey, we're trying our best. Whatever comes is Krishna's prasadam. But that doesn't mean not that you're indicating that, but it does mean that, as you said, anyone should step in to provide that protection. We can't just say, that's the child's fate, what to do. Cannot say. At least a thoughtful or a conscientious person cannot say. like you've stepped in at least one case that I know. I'm sure there are more, but so that's what a conscious person does. Okay? Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.